I'm ex-
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm excited. Let's go.
All right. So Hailey just said it all. We're also very excited. And this is episode 231 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. And you're a handful of people that we've actually had on twice. So welcome to our show a second time.
Thank you for having me back. It's such an honor and a privilege. You guys are celebrities now.
Just shooting from the hip. So, we had some good chat offline, and it really opened up some areas of conversation that we should jump into as this interview continues. But I know that right now we're really most interested in you. And if you could just maybe share with us and our audience some of the things that have been going on with you since 200 episodes ago of the Chiro Hustle podcast, and maybe some things that are new in your life. I know you're a mom now.
I am, yes. I have a little girl, River Joy. She's a year old. And since you brought it up, I just have chiropractic to thank big time, because before I ever knew about chiropractic, I had been raised in a very Western medicine world, and had a completely different philosophy. And I feel like the chiropractors have really been my teachers and my mentors in healthcare. And I was able to make all these incredible decisions of how I was going to raise my daughter before she was even born because of chiropractic. And I just think, wow, I'm so glad I didn't have kids 10 years ago, before I knew really the truth and knew what we have access to, and knew what I could give her access to. So it just makes me way more thankful for chiropractic and this journey. And it just, the more I know and the more I get to know chiropractors, the more I feel blessed and honored to be in this space.
Well, I absolutely agree with you. And I know that some chiropractors, they frown at the idea of chiropractic lifestyle, but really it is a lifestyle. Wouldn't you agree?
It really is. I think that maybe it's easy once you're in it not to really realize how different it is. So I feel really honored to have, access to both friends and family that are in the lifestyle, for lack of a better term, and then ones that aren't, and just really seeing the difference in the kids, seeing the difference in just decision making and everything.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of togetherness within the mission of chiropractic. And I really believe that there's a big ethical approach to raising healthy families. And it's really cool to see that you are able to understand that from an inside perspective. And I know that today, I don't know if any of you guys are out there watching right now, but Luke, Jim, Hailey, we're not chiropractors. But one of the things I wanted to kind of talk to you about was, do you think that your experience of actually working in a chiropractic office helped you achieve the status of thinking the way you are today?
Absolutely. I think the experience of getting adjusted helped me achieve the level of thinking that I'm at today. I definitely have noticed the difference in feeling like there's been a constant upgrade in my life since I started getting adjusted, and primarily in my ability to focus and have insight. So huge transformation. Absolutely. And then also seeing the patients and really getting to know them. That's my passion, really, is the patients and the team's interaction with the patients, and just really getting to see their transformation.
So this next question's really fun. It had a totally different meaning a year ago when we wrote it. So has anything not gone how you expected lately? And what did you learn from it? What are some things that maybe you had to pivot and change due to what's going on?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. You guys were ahead of the game on that one. That's for sure.
Well, we were really thinking about the marketing arena.
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally. Definitely, though, what's been interesting about this last year and what I've really learned, I had heard this quote that said, when people have money or grow financially, it magnifies who you already are. And I feel like that's been this recent time for people. The pandemic, has magnified who you already are. And especially with my practices and my teams, really seeing for many of them, the teams really step up and become more of who they are and those great qualities. And then unfortunately, I see other businesses and things where the not so great qualities get magnified. And so I think that that's what I'm really learning. And then also learning that there are lots of ways to achieve your desired outcome. And I think that's been powerful as well, is to see, be in this position where maybe the way we used to not do things, my business used to be 100% live in-person events. And that was my thing. And over 90% of them were canceled this year that I had booked. And so it was really cool to see like, hey, this can still happen. We can still impact, we can still make a difference for people, and learning how to do that. And then the other one would be like a little quote or mantra that I've had for this year, and that's really been resonating with me, is that forgiveness is a choice, not a feeling. And I think it's been easy for a lot of people to get, angry or defensive during this time. But that's been really helping me, is to realize like what we really need right now is forgiveness as our foundation. And then we can build in that love and that unity moving forward.
Some of the things that you said there really resonate with me, because I'm kind of from the other end of the spectrum. I believe that sometimes, the glaring results of people's success can be attributed to financial success and can be attributed to great business relationships in your community and great ethical approach to actually run a business.
Mm-hmm.
And when that does a really great job, and that the person that's running that business does a great job, whether they're, financially strong or not, if they have a good relationship with their community, they survive. And it's very telling as to what's happening now during this pandemic, of some people's businesses maybe not making it. And I've been told that there's numbers as close as 30% of chiropractors that might not make it throughout this year because, number one, the chiropractor doesn't have a strong enough relationship with their community. And I think that that's where you can come in with your skill sets and your courses and your reach, and you can really touch people's lives. And I think that that's why you said, when people become more financial, like gain, when they learn how to make more money, it's an amplification of who they really are. Well, it's the other side of the story too. It's an amplification of who they aren't.
Yes, absolutely. That's when the weaknesses can appear, which I think we've seen a lot this year. If a practice had trouble with, whatever their area of weakness was, that was amplified, and it's so much bigger now. And I've seen that a lot with the teams as well.
And I just wanted to touch on something we were discussing like off camera. And you were saying how, when you're working with an office, they want to send their CA to be like the bill collector, if you will, and to be the one that closes people into care plans. And I think that what I said to you is, hey, if you really want to run a very successful chiropractic office, you have to play to people's strengths, and you have to hire people into positions. If you want somebody to be, the closer, and you want them to come in and like get people into care plans, then you have to have somebody that's a very well-trained specific position that does that, and you have to compensate them well. And I think that that's where we come into this game of chiropractic business, that people have to understand that the chiropractor, you aren't going to have CA go adjust, are you?
So true. Absolutely. I agree 100%. And I think I would add to that as well, I think it's always good to look at like why and the reason, so if there was somebody that was uncomfortable doing the financial side in any business, yes, hire your weaknesses. I agree with that completely. But also maybe find like what could be broken inside, what part of you that could be healed up to feel confident with those things. Because the more confident you are, as the leader of the practice, you're the umbrella, and your team is going to feel that. Even like the best expert, most amazing closer, or marketer, at the end of the day, really the mindset of the owner is going to affect all of that and is going to affect the end result that the staff produces.
Yeah, play to CA's strengths. And I believe that that's why chiropractors become chiropractors, because their strength is to be a healer.
Absolutely.
And I believe that that's why when they are able to assemble a team, they're able to help more people, because they basically, what I've learned is they put a different hat on different characteristics of people, to where they can say, okay, you're the scheduler, you're the money collector.
Absolutely.
You're the phone caller, you're the rescheduler. You're the person that's the technician that does the therapies with people, and you take x-rays. Awesome. Let's go to lunch. So
important to have the right person. I've actually been in a lot of practices where when I go in, I start with an observation hour. And that's a big thing that chiropractors come to me for is, do I have the right people playing the right part? And it's been amazing. I've actually reversed roles with some of the team members, put a front desk person in the back in rehab and a rehab person up front. And just to see the results when they are in the right place where they're meant to be and where they thrive, and things explode. It's incredible to see. And then also letting them decide, I think, is really empowering to CA, asking them, like, what are you passionate about? What do you love? What's your favorite part of the day? What's your favorite way to help patients? And then put them in that role. Like, let them tell you is really the easiest way and the way to get the most authentic results too.
I see the truth in all of this, because a lot of times you'll put somebody in a situation that they didn't want to be in, and they realize that that place might not be the best home for them to work in. So it's all environmental based. And, that's why docs that have a poor relationship with money aren't the ones that should be closing care plans. And the people that don't understand about running a business shouldn't be the ones that are scheduling and collecting money.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm sure you've seen that before too, where you have somebody that's like that greeter and that scheduler and that person at the front desk that answers phones, and you see numbers drop because people aren't actually doing what they're supposed to be doing up there. And they're not actually running that business as if it's a part of that doctor's business. They're running it as if it's theirs, and it's not theirs.
Yeah, that's a really good point that you make. Absolutely. Yeah.
I could talk forever on this stuff. And I know that this is your wheelhouse too. So it's really cool to have this conversation with you today.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's pretty amazing to see just the transformation that's happening right now, both positive and both negative, in chiropractic, but focusing on the positive and those practices that are getting so much stronger and having better results. And now I'm seeing a lot of chiropractors that are being inspired to speak out, and CAs, being inspired to speak out about chiropractic and tell what it really does. People that never spoke out before, people in the community didn't even know what they did. So there is some pretty great things happening.
What would you say is the most important thing to happen to the profession in the last decade or so?
The most important thing that has happened?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Like, what would you say has had the biggest impact on chiropractic?
Yeah. In the last decade, this year really has had a huge impact on chiropractic. And I think it's given people enough pain to move, and it's lit the fire under so many people that's so needed. And I actually, it's been in my experience that people are non-chiropractors, people that aren't in the chiropractic world, they're searching for answers right now, and they're more open to alternatives and maybe things they haven't considered. So I think this is actually essentially the low-hanging fruit year for chiropractors to really get out there. People want what you have, and they're searching for those answers that we have access to.
This is kind of like what separates people from sinking and swimming.
Definitely. Absolutely. Businesses as well.
Mm-hmm. So who are some of your mentors? Who are some people that have inspired you to become who you are today? They could be living or passed on.
Yeah. My biggest mentor was someone that no one here would have heard of, but her name was Diana Hailey, and she was my babysitter when I was really little, and then just became a mentor and a sound mind for me to go to throughout my life. And unfortunately, a few years ago, she got diagnosed with Alzheimer's, so she's with us, but no longer with us. And she is so incredible because she gave such wisdom. And one of the things that I think of that she said that has directly related to my life and passion for chiropractic is she had this amazing open door policy at her house. I remember sitting there and watching her, and people from town would come, and someone would show up at her door and have a problem and be crying, and she'd make them tea with the most beautiful little tray and cookies and have them sit by her fire with a little fur blanket and all of these things and just really cherish them. And before they were out the driveway, another person would come in. And I feel like from her is where I really learned the importance of valuing and cherishing each person, and have been able to bring that into chiropractic where people, patients aren't just treated like a number. I think it's so easy when you're in the practice and seeing all these great results all the time. It's easy to lose the power of that complete presence. And that's really what my teams bring to chiropractic is really being present for those people, which makes all the difference. I mean, those are the practices that can go anywhere with their numbers.
So if you could pick anyone from history to sit down and have lunch with, who would that be?
Anyone from history? Pass. I keep changing my mind on this question.
You can pick a couple.
Yeah, it's okay. We can have lunch sometime, Hailey.
Present day. I feel like a lot of the people I look up to are really present day for sure. Yeah. I'm pretty focused on present and future at the moment, so there isn't one I would pick. I think it would be existing people.
Who are some examples?
Yeah, a lot of them are chiropractors. Actually, I feel like if I were to sit down and have a lunch, it would be with a lot of chiropractors that serve kids, like Dr. Jessica in Alaska. I think she would be one of my dream lunch buddies. Chris Zano, I really feel like he has a lot of wisdom to impart as well. And just really people that I've already had the honor of working with and have access to. I feel really lucky when you ask me that question.
Jessica Dahovsky, yeah, her husband Ryan, I was up there working 5 years ago at the Alaska State Fair, and he actually brought a table to a parking lot outside of a place that he was so amped up to meet me for breakfast. He brought his table up to this parking lot and adjusted me in a parking lot right outside of this diner. So yeah, really cool story about Ryan Dahovsky, Jessica's husband.
They're incredible. They're such a power couple.
Mm-hmm.
And you were his dream lunch.
Before I even knew that I could be somebody's dream lunch.
Totally. That's the cool thing about what you guys do. I mean, bringing people together and giving the world access to all these amazing people. I love it.
Yeah, I think it's really cool to be able to do meaningful work. And that's what I've really seen with what you've done over since we've had a relationship with you, is you have a chance to do meaningful work and do what you love. And they always say, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
So true. Absolutely.
So it doesn't have to be like a laborious effort that we always have that we think about work. Sometimes it's about the aspect of serving and doing what we enjoy doing.
Absolutely. I love that. And that's really my passion, is bringing that out in people, bringing that out in the team members, because I think that it's inside of us, like wherever you are, wherever you work, there's part of you that brought you to that place, you know, in that position. So I think it's really powerful for people to be freed to be able to live in that.
Well, I mean, that's a big part of why podcasting is so powerful, is because we allow other people to be seen, and we can focus on their genius, their brand, and, you know, their story. And I really think that that's why, you know, having people on like yourself can touch more lives, is because when we're asked to show up and we get the chance to be authentically us and we get a chance to share stories, that's when we really build connection with people. And, you know, before it was pandemic world, we were leveraging these platforms of interview and Zooms and things like that. And now everybody wants to be on these platforms, and they all want to see, hey, how can I turn what I was doing before virtual? And I think that more and more we're going to realize that podcasting and these type of connections, it's recession proof, it's pandemic proof,
Yeah.
and that people are going to attract to these types of conversations more and more, because if it's not on video platform, it's audio platform, and audio is growing massively right now. So people, I think, really understand that audio is passive. And when you and I were growing up, you know, we would think of passive entertainment as like the radio.
Yeah.
And now kids are growing up and their passive entertainment is podcasting.
So true. Absolutely. And it's such a great way to net, you know, no extra time to really be able to multitask and feed your mind while doing other things. It's incredible.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times somebody sends me a video on Facebook Messenger and I don't watch it.
Oh, really?
I mean, my bandwidth to take on more information that isn't like something that I make space and time for, it's almost impossible. So if I don't like pre-select what I'm interested in, it's really hard for me to like go down the rabbit hole of somebody else's video. So if somebody sent me an audio though, I could appreciate that and listen to that with a whole different reverence, because it's passive to me. And I can do that while I'm walking around cooking in the house, and I don't have to like feel like I'm watching something. So I think how we internalize media is going to be a huge shift on how we market in the future. And that, I guess that's one of the next questions we have for you is, how are you using social media and regular media to your leverage right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's something that has been a big shift for me as well, in that pre-pandemic times, you know, 100% of my business was referral based, and it's still very referral based. Most of it is, but that's something that I'm really learning and just myself, and able to learn and then work with my teams as well to use social media so much more. I've been just started with that platform, Dub, where you can send, you know, personalized video messages to people. And my focus right now has been so on my clients using social media, you know, for their advantage. I could probably answer that question better. But they've been just doing amazing things getting on there. The teams have been doing amazing things using all of the already existing platforms. I mean, I think Facebook is the biggest one. It's amazing how many patients are on Facebook, and they can reach them and access them that way. I feel like that would be a question I would want to ask you guys, honestly. You're the experts in marketing.
Yeah, toss it to us.
Yeah,
I'll let Luke go first.
I don't do any of the posting.
For my CAs, what do you feel like would be the most successful thing that a CA could do to use social media platforms?
You know, for me being the guy that does the posting,
Yeah.
I know that it's an assembly of content. And I always tell people, when you do any type of strategy, you have to think of taking one thing and turn it into many things. So I really look at the world of media creation as something very much fun to me, because I get a chance to say, I'm going to do a podcast with you today, Hailey. And what we're going to do after this podcast is we're going to strip the audio and we're going to turn this podcast into this video that goes on to YouTube. And by the way, while we're live right now, this is going live in the Chiro Hustle Facebook page. It's also going live on Jim Chester's personal page. It's also going live on YouTube. So now we're taking this repurposing strategy of this one thing that we're doing with you, this interview, and it's going live on 3 different platforms right now. And then we're going to actually take this and turn into an episode that's audio only. So the thing I was talking to you about earlier about being a passive resource, now this is going to be something that people are passively going to be able to use on Spotify and iTunes and Google Play and all the other streaming platforms that we redistribute this message to. So I think that is one corner of the universe when it comes to like creating content and being excited about it. But we also create micro content. We pull 1-minute video clips of this and we create artwork around it. And, you know, we learn how to take a pull quote from this and brand that as your episode. So I think that when you start to think about the amount of things that you can create off of one instance of creation, that's really where we're going as creators and content, you know, machines, is we get a chance to take one thing and focus on that. And then we can do another one with our sponsors. We can brand that out differently. We can send it through email differently. And we can create those 1-minute snippets that get attached to the whole episode. So I think that we can get really creative with distribution of content, and every platform's different. The way that I would post to LinkedIn is different from the way I'll post to Facebook. The way that we post to Facebook is different the way we'll post to Instagram. So I know I've taken you on a crazy journey of like taking one thing and making many. But maybe somebody that's listening to this message that's in your inspired group will say, wow, that's what we need to do. So if I were to tell somebody that runs an office how to do this type of distribution, I would say you should have a monocast that talks to your practice, your established patients, and you should have a list of things that you do your show on. Just say, for instance, Atlas and Axis for A's. And then we go to like C, we go to like the cranium, and we go to cervical curve. So creating topics that you can create 1-minute videos on that are like facing to your practice and your practice members is one strategy. And then I would say you also should interview other influencers in your community and cross-pollinate your brand and your message with other people in your marketplace. And that's how you can really start branding and marketing in 2021 if we have limited access to networking events and screening events and your typical chiropractic marketing strategies. So I would say that those are really good ways to, as the practitioner, could create content and use these strategies I was mentioning to you before, you know.
Absolutely. Those are good, very doable things. You know, every team I can think of can do that, and it gives them a practical application as well. You know, they can manage the topics and bring the camera up to the chiropractor, you know, start recording and make sure it gets done.
Yeah. And, you know, as we talk about like being creative and actually making systems of distribution, I think a lot of it, you know, I've always been told, you know, you don't have to get it right, but you have to get it going. And if you wait another 6 months, you shouldn't. You should start like now. Definitely. You should take your phone out today and say, I'm going to do a 1-minute video on any topic. It doesn't have to be in alphabetic category, you know, category. It can just be like, okay, we're going to talk about subluxation today. You could talk about subluxation every day for the next 3 months, and it's not going to be an old topic. Most people just don't know what subluxation is. So you could talk seriously about, maybe it's x-ray. You could talk about x-ray for the next 6 months. It would never get old because people don't know why they should be x-rayed. So I think that we really could get creative with topics, but we could also drill really deep and talk about one thing only. And that's the way that you start building that bridge with your community. And that's the way that people start to say, wow, that person really knows some stuff that I should probably be paying attention to. And I think that that's really, as creators, how we can actually get out the 4 walls of the brick and mortar businesses and touch more lives. Because social media, I believe if we don't leverage it right now, it's going to get more expensive to use. And it's going to become something that's more widely used by the other people, the ones that do the other stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My favorite thing that you shared was interviewing local celebrities and, people outside of chiropractic. And I know that's something you and I have spoken of a lot in the past, is really cross-pollinating and bringing people outside of chiropractic into the chiropractic world, and then also being united within chiropractic as well is huge.
Well, I very rarely self-promote for what Luke and I do, but we just create a masterclass training people on the bottom of the ticker. If people want to learn how to do these strategies, we've created a very intense, well-rounded program to teach people how to do exactly what we just talked about.
And we are now accepting pre-orders.
Nice. That's awesome. I'm definitely going to have the practices that I work with check that out.
But yeah, to me, this is the new branding. How can we take the strategies that Luke and I have been doing for the past 3 years and teach this to the chiropractic profession? Because right now, more than ever, we need more chiropractors sharing their message and interviewing people and cross-pollinating their message to their local community, which I guarantee anybody out there watching right now, if you do an interview with the gal that cuts your hair, or the guy that cuts your hair, or the place that makes your coffee, they're going to feel so connected and so philanthropically like appreciated that you're actually telling their story to your local community. And that then you're going to become, as we always say, the go-to chiropractor in your community. Well, do you know why you're that go-to chiropractor? Because you made yourself interested in someone else. And there's the old saying, Hailey, no one cares how interesting you are until they become how interested you are. And you have to become interested in people before you can become interesting.
That's so true. I love that.
I probably screwed that up big time, but you know what I meant.
I do. That's so powerful. And I just would love to add to that and really encourage the teams as well. Another thing I think we've talked about off camera is the power of none of us actually being chiropractors and the influence that we're able to have in our field. You guys in the tech field, me with teams. And I see that a lot right now too, is actually having the teams go out, do those interviews, connect with people. The teams share their stories. There's so many teams that haven't even shared their own chiropractic stories, online or in their office. And, if you have patient of the month, make the team the patient of the month, all of that, because their influence is incredible. And when you empower these CAs to be able to be leaders in your culture and leaders in chiropractic, I would venture to say their influence is more powerful as a non-chiropractor than a chiropractor. If they go out and speak out like all of us have, it's huge. I mean, that's what's going to grow the practice, and that's what's going to really change healthcare. It's not the chiropractors, it's the teams and the patients. And it has to start with the chiropractors really empowering their teams and giving them those resources to do that. And then the teams empower the patients to go out and speak. And that's really how we're going to shift. Like, chiropractors can't do it by themselves. And, no single profession could only the one providing the service be able to create that kind of influence and impact. You need your tribe, your team, which is the team and the patients in this case.
Well, you hit the nail on the head. And marketing is a really ugly word when you're a chiropractor.
Yeah.
Because a chiropractor is not a marketer. A chiropractor is an adjuster. So it takes a whole tribe to raise a marketing awareness for a clinic. And that's what people they always want to put the burden on one person. Well, no, it's a team effort. And that's why when I said to Luke, hey, tell her what we do, he's like, no, that's what you do. And if he would have asked me, hey, Jim, how do you strip a video and make audio out of it? I'd be like, I don't know. That's what you do.
Yeah.
But understanding that we have these, we're creatures of multiple intelligence, but we find our lane that we like to live in. And that's how we do our distribution of our message. Like, you like training people. If I'm like, Hailey, you got to start doing a podcast and distributing 41 pieces of content every week, you'd be like, that's my jam.
Absolutely.
And, we all have our zone of genius. And for all of you guys out there watching, Hailey, Luca, and I, as a reiteration, none of us are chiropractors, but we're all having an impact on this beautiful profession of chiropractic, because we see if we don't stand up for chiropractic, then the truth doesn't get shared. And really, we started this podcast 3 years ago is to protect free speech in chiropractic. And that's really what we're doing right now as, a journalistic front that creates podcast and content distribution. Is if we don't step up and do what we do and what we love, then the message gets lost. And we don't have a documented storyline of all these amazing interviews that we've done, because I really believe that we have to leverage what's current, but we also have to stay current. And that's that ugly word of marketing, is we want to learn how to market the message and to be that megaphone for chiropractic, because like you've noticed, the chiropractor might not be the best suited for that.
Absolutely.
So if you had to pick one thing about yourself that you would improve on, what would that be?
Well, my marketing, of course. After that.
It's an ugly word.
In business, it would be that. So I will be reaching out to you guys. In life, I'm happy to say that it's something that I'm like in the thick of right now and really working on improving. And it's kind of been like this constant area of growth for me. And that is just bringing more truth and more authenticity out of myself and others. And that's something I'm really excited about, because that's what this season is all about, is bringing truth out and, bringing out the magnifying glass so that truth is revealed. So that's what I'm particularly passionate about working on at the moment.
What would be some advice that you would give to a struggling chiropractic student?
Yeah, I would give them the advice of work on yourself as much as you work on your education. I think that's huge, because in my experience, it's the chiropractor that has really mastered themselves that can then, have the mindset, for instance, like Jim was talking about, bringing in other experts and taking that leap of faith and really mastering the team and being the leader, because their psychology, their mindset will affect the practice. So getting a jump start on that is huge, to be able to do that as a student and really master yourself. I can't imagine a more hands-on profession, than chiropractic, where your being will affect the patients, the team, the community.
Do you think students should pick their schools based on geography or where they're located?
I think it depends on the student, depends on the person and where they're at mindset wise. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, based on those type of topics, I really think that a chiropractic student should find out who they can take to lunch and take somebody that's been there, done that, and has more experience. And maybe that should be their hero. Maybe that's who they should go say, hey, I'd like to take you to lunch, chiropractor, and I'd like to just ask you some questions. I think that would broaden the depth of any chiropractic student out there. And based on that question, I love the question of geography, because sometimes, you want to be close to your family. But when it comes to like a superior education, I think we also have to think about where's the most superior education, because at the end of the day, the chiropractic colleges, all they do is teach people how to pass boards. And most of the chiropractors that become successful, they learn how to adjust outside of school. So go where the superior education is and know that you're going to learn most of your technical skills outside of school, and that you're going to pay for seminars anyway. So you might as well go find a good mentor.
That's great advice. I think the reason why I hesitated is some of the most exceptional chiropractors that I know didn't go to the best schools. So I've seen both for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's great advice.
A lot of their skill sets are postgraduate, or they're learned outside of school.
Definitely.
The school just teaches them how to pass boards, I believe. And depends on who your pack that you graduate with and who the people you spend time with and you matriculate from school to professional life with, is really, I think, that group of people that should be your biggest decision is, who do I want to be attached to in 20 years from now that I went to school with?
That's awesome. I love it. Hmm.
So do you have any special promotions or any hot deals going on right now that people can take advantage of?
That's a great question. Yes, I'm planning 3 events in 2021 that are really unique in that they're going to have a in-person and then also a live like this streaming. So there's options for people, and this year's been really good for me to push me to be able to give more people access to the services that I provide. So that's really my mission this next year, is to make it something that everybody can access, make my team training really accessible to everybody, where yes, some people may still fly me out to their office to work with their team live, but they also have access to really get incredible results virtually. And so that's what we're working on in 2021. I haven't released the dates yet, but there's 3. The first one is at the end of January, and I'll be releasing those very shortly. Those are going to be, those events are to completely jumpstart your team. They've been so powerful in the past, and really working on the mindset, the psychology of the team, helping the team take ownership over the practice, whether you've got the best team member ever or a brand new team member. I really like to meet people where they're at and help them get the systems and mindset that's really going to help them, and help them pull out their unique gifts and their unique qualities that they can contribute to chiropractic. So that's what they can expect to get out of the event.
Where can they go if they want to check it out or sign up?
Oh, certainly. They can go to my website. I can put it down below. Maybe you can put it down below for me, because I don't know how to chat on this one. It's inspiredpracticesolutions.com. And then they can also text or call to book an appointment with me as well. And I can put my phone number in there too. Is this the chat down on the right?
Yeah, we just need
I'll
to
just put my phone number live too.
Inspiredpracticesolutions.com.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And then reaching out is always great too. I feel really blessed to be very connected in chiropractic. So I always like to speak with people live, see what's going to be the best fit for them. And if I'm confident I can help you, then we'll move forward. If not, if it's marketing or something else you need help with, I probably know a guy or 2 guys.
Well, yeah. We're very thankful to have you on as our guest today. I know that we shared a lot of value and takeaways for our viewers today. And I know that if anybody wants to take their teams and their synergy within their brick and mortar to the next level, they can really lean on you and your systems, because there's a reason that you've come into this space the way that you have, and that's to be of service and to be able to show people that running a practice can be fun, but if you try to do it by yourself, the hamster wheel gets pretty exhausting.
Absolutely. It's a great way to avoid burnout for the team and the doctor, to have that help and that support.
Well, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about that we didn't ask you?
I think this was great. I learned a lot. I took some great notes about marketing too, so I love it. Thank you so much for the value that you guys are always adding to this space and to the world in general. And I did want to just also encourage team members that might be watching, or CAs that need some support right now. Feel free to reach out. You don't have to be a chiropractor or a practice owner to reach out directly to me. I'm here to help, and I'm here to serve you.
Awesome. So inspiredpracticesolutions.com to reach out to Hailey. And if you guys want to take our podcast masterclass training, go to chirohustle.com/podcast-masterclass. We are accepting pre-orders.
This is exciting. We get a chance to work with amazing people just like you. And let's just keep supporting ourselves and supporting each other, and looking forward to the next opportunity that we get to connect.
Thank you.
Thanks for being our guest today. And
We'll see you soon.
See you.
Bye.